Hello everyone and welcome back. My name's dustinkreis and today we're going to do another game discussion. We're going to talk about this game right here, Red Faction Armageddon for the Xbox 360 and the PS3, which I have here. And this was a recommendation by Steven the Laggy Gamer. I think he told Chance and I to play this because it was actually a really awesome game. And they played it before I finally got around to it. And I was kind of going through a bit of a rut. I was just looking through the game room here and I couldn't figure out anything to play. And Steven's like, well, I think it's time for you to play a shooter. And told me I should throw this in. And I'm glad I did because this was actually a really, really fun game. And it's one of those games, I think THQ, their hopes were kind of riding on this to kind of help fix their financial woes. And it just didn't sell well at all. And that's a shame because it is actually a really fun game. But it does go on a bit long for my taste. I thought this game was going to end in like 3 different places. And in each of those places, like the first time I was like, okay, this is a satisfying end to this nice, short, fun campaign. It's like, oh no, I'm only halfway through the game. So I kept playing and then I got to this other boss and beat it. And I was like, all right, it was a little long, but still I had a good time. And then even after that, you have to continue on. And I was just like, oh, will this game please end? And it finally did, and had a great time with it. But like I said, a little bit long. And the storyline is something that, to be honest with you, I didn't even really pay attention to. That's not why I played this game, for its intense story. In fact, there was one play session where I actually just turned down the volume and played with music on the CD player. So, but Steven told me that the storyline isn't that great, but the reason why you want to play this, I guess I should not get into that right yet. I should talk more about the storyline. It is a continuation of Red Faction Guerrilla. And it takes place this character is the grandson of Guerrilla. I haven't played Guerrilla yet, but now I kind of want to, because it's more of an open world type of game, where this is more of a close quarters corridor type of game. And basically, you play as Darius Mason, who is a member of the Red Faction army on Mars. And through the opening prologue, you're going after the leader of this cult that's causing mischief and mayhem. And of course, in the ensuing battle, the aftermath of the battle, Darius leaves the Red Faction and kind of becomes I don't want to say like a treasure hunter, but just like a gun for hire type of person. And he gets hired by this mysterious guy to go and check out these ruins, and it inadvertently awakens this alien race that lived on Mars, and then has to exterminate it. It's kind of one of those games. And like I said, the storyline, there was a big portion of it kind of in the middle where I didn't even pay attention to it. I could kind of tell what was going on by just watching the characters. Like, I figured out that, Kara and Darius were kind of falling in love and blah, blah, blah. But, it is kind of an interesting story, but it's not something that's going to, just light your world on fire. What will be a lot of fun is the gameplay, and this is a third-person shooter. And I remember playing Red Faction back on the PS2, the first Red Faction, because, it was such a big deal about the geo-mod system where you could destroy, basically, the environments around you. And I remember kind of screwing myself in that game a couple times by... you could actually destroy... the actual terrain itself, not just buildings and things like that. And I dug a really deep hole and I couldn't get out of it, or something like that. I can't really remember. But I remember screwing myself with it and never really finishing it. This is a lot better in that you can't really destroy the ground underneath you except for the metal platforms and things like that. But it is a lot of fun running around the stage and just destroying things. It really reminded me a lot of GoldenEye on the N64, because after you beat the game, I would just go back into the stages and I would kill everybody and I would destroy everything and I would just fail the mission, but I have such a fun time just running through with a missile launcher and just blowing everything up. It was a lot of fun. And This kind of reminds me of that. Like after you beat the game, you just want to go back in and cause destruction. How you destroy the environments in this game is a thing called the Nano Forge, and this is actually a really awesome gameplay mechanic. And it's unfortunate that this game didn't really take off because it's got a lot of good ideas. The Nano Forge is this little gauntlet that Darius wears, and through it he can like throw out this kinetic energy that will just obliterate everything in its path. But the cool thing about it is too, by pressing the L2 button, he can just hold his hand out and then recreate what was destroyed. So you can completely destroy a huge building and then rebuild it with the Nano Forge. And that was, I mean, for some reason it's just a lot of fun just to mess around with that. And the cool thing about this system is you always kind of feel at a disadvantage fighting the enemies because it takes a lot of shots to kill them, and you can't really lock on them very well. There is a lock-on mechanic, but it doesn't really work that great. But I found myself a lot of times just destroying the ground out from underneath the enemies and like sending them down into like lava pits and stuff like that. And it's really satisfying to use this system to its fullest and not just treat it as a regular third-person shooter with the ability to, you know, destroy the buildings around you after you're done shooting. It really takes some time with it to figure out how to use the Nano Forge to the best ability, because in a lot of ways, knowing how to destroy the environments around you to help fight the enemies, it's really important. But this is, yeah, other than that big mechanic, this is a pretty traditional third-person shooter. I was actually really surprised it was a third-person shooter because I wasn't. I was thinking it was still a first-person shooter from my days on the PS2. So to play it as a third person was actually quite interesting. The controls are spot on in this game. The only thing I really had a problem with was the aiming, and it kind of. I'm almost thinking like the PS3 controller is just a little too loose in the control sticks, because I had the same problem with Front Mission Evolved, but that game was like completely almost unplayable because of it. This game is just kind of a nuisance, and once you got used to it, you're able to do okay. But yeah, in the gameplay side of it, this is just a fun, dumb shooter that you can just relax and blow things up with, and never really makes you think too much, which is just the kind of game I needed right now. The graphics are actually really good. The character models maybe aren't the most impressive thing you've ever seen, but when you realize that with the environmental destruction and the rebuilding and stuff like that, the graphics are pretty astounding. The one thing about this that was weird is that I think you actually have to install this on your hard drive. I know I just put the game in and it just instantly started to install it, so it didn't prompt me if I wanted to or not. It just installed. So I think it has to be installed because of that, the environmental destruction and things like that, and keeping track of it with the hard drive and things like that. The music and the sounds, it's a very atmospheric game. The music I never really noticed too much. My nose keeps itching for some reason. I don't know why. I never really noticed the music very much, but like the atmospheric sounds were really quite good, and the voice acting is pretty good. It's pretty standard for a third-person, action shooter. But yeah, it's unfortunate that this game didn't do better than what it did, because it was a lot of fun. And I don't know if Red Faction was picked up in the THQ sales, their properties. I don't know if someone picked that up or not. But it would be nice to see another game in the series, and maybe that one take off. I don't know. This is the fourth game in the series, and when the fourth game doesn't do so well, it's kind of like, well, maybe we should just retire it. But I'm definitely going to go out and look for Gorilla and play it whenever I need another dumb... I keep saying dumb. It's not a dumb game. It's just, you don't have to think a lot. It's just run and gun and, destroy the environments and just have a blast with it. So anyway, I think it's pretty cheap out there. So if you're looking for something like this to sort of cleanse your palate, definitely check out Red Faction Armageddon. And I guess the last thing I should talk about is when you beat this game, you get a hidden weapon called Mr. Toots. And Chance and Steven talked a lot about this, and I was playing through the game, and I was like, I never came across this. I finally beat it, and when you reload your game, do like a new game plus, it's there in your weapons locker, and it's this like My Little Pony that's like, you know, the size of Duncan, about 15-pound dog, and you carry it with its butt hanging out, with its butt, you know, as the barrel of the rifle, and it farts rainbows and just destroys the environment, and just the faces this little horse makes. It makes it worth it to beat the game and then go back through and play it with that. So yeah, Red Faction Armageddon. I would say if you see it out there and you're looking for something like this, definitely pick it up. It's a surprisingly good game for how terrible it did sale-wise. It's really kind of unfortunate this got overlooked in favor of other games. So anyway, that is it for this. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.